So I often get asked what we do. People don't really understand it. So I'm creating a number of these case study videos to talk about past projects that we've been involved with or that we've created. So this video, we're going to talk about one of the businesses I've been involved with personally, which was a renewable energy company. The reason we share these videos is because we're passionate about helping smaller businesses compete against the corporate takeover of most industries. Customer convenience and access to capital means small businesses will mostly die out before the end of the decade if they don't adapt and start thinking about new ways of running the business. We work in partnership with established 7- and 8-figure businesses to create new product offerings and business models, and then we position and package them up to compete against their corporate rivals. We create and invest in alternative ways of doing things to create industry-leading brands. But now let's get into the video. Now, when I first got involved with this company, it had 3 staff. It had been trading for about 2 years, and it had about 180,000 in revenue. And its main product offering was installing small biomass boilers to farms and estate cottages. The problem that the business had that was stopping it from growing was that the customers it was targeting just didn't have the money to pay for these boilers. The cheapest biomass boiler, I think, was about £30,000 installed, whereas the equivalent gas boiler was about 4,000. So the first thing I did was to redesign the business model. I changed 3 core parts of the business model. The first was how the boilers were paid for. Rather than the customer paying a lump sum when it was installed, instead we switched it so they'd pay based on each unit of energy that they used. So rather than being a contractor, we became more like an energy supplier. The second was the customer type. Rather than targeting people that had no money, instead we targeted corporates and the public sector, who both had a legal responsibility to reduce their carbon emissions. And this meant that they were coming to us rather than us having to try and sell the idea to them, which is always an issue with a previous type of customer. And finally, the third change, rather than doing it the traditional way of sending engineers to site and installing the equipment there, instead we manufactured a containerized boiler room where we'd install all the equipment inside a shipping container. That would all be done locally, and then we'd send it to the site and just connect it up. So now this model is used all the time now, but we were the first company to do it like this back then. And this meant rather than only being able to work locally, we could target clients anywhere. So as long as we could transport the equipment when it was ready, then we could work there. So within 2 years, we'd grown the business to be the largest biomass company in the UK with 46 staff and contracts all over the country. Now, if you've watched my other case study videos, you might have noticed a pattern. While we learn lessons from each individual project or business, if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture of all these case studies together, there's a common thread that runs through all of them. And that is that when we've initiated a project ourselves, trying to run it ourselves, things haven't really gone how we'd hoped. But when we've done it as a partnership, sometimes almost within that partner's business, it's gone much better. And this is the reason we've shifted our own model to follow this formula. It's why we set up these projects in partnership with established specialists in each area. In this business, we were the specialists, so that's why it worked out. But in other projects, we weren't specialists on the delivery side, or we didn't have the delivery side within our own business.